Okay, so this is what I remember from learning about Reconstruction. So basically, we just had the most bloody American war in the history of American wars, where more Americans died in an American war than in any other wars that involved Americans. So, then, we're like, hey, we just beat the crap out of these rebels. What are we gonna do about them? Then Lincoln's like, okay, so we're gonna have 10% of each state's people say, hey, we sucked as Confederate people. We want to be good Union people. Please let us be a part of your Union. And so, they do. So that's not exactly what happens. Um, basically, the Union has an army come down to the south, and then they have split into 5 territories, each with a major general, kind of like it's some kind of anime or something. And so, when with the military there, they force out new laws and stuff. There's amendments saying that black people should be treated like people, and they should be able to vote, and it's only ever enforced if the military's down there, which kinda sucks. And I'll tell you about that later. So basically, Lincoln's kind of the guy who's like, oh hey, we should have people who are black be free and be equal citizens. But we shouldn't be very nasty to the southern people, because they're still people too. But then what happens is he's shot while watching a play. And some guy, he leaps off the podium after shooting him and says, long live the South! And then runs out, and everybody's like, what the crap just happened? But now Lincoln is dead. And that sucks. Because you know who replaces him? Andrew Johnson. He's a total dingus. The reason Lincoln chose Andrew Johnson as vice president was because, well, Andrew Johnson was kind of a South guy. And if he had a South guy as vice president, he didn't look like a total Northerner. And so but the thing is that since you have a South guy as your vice president, he's replacing you as president when you die. And since Lincoln died, now the South guy, Andrew Johnson, is president. And since we have a South guy as president, now we have a bunch of South guy things happening. Like letting the Confederate States into the Union, even though they didn't really do much to get into the Union. And so now that the Confederate States are getting into the Union, even though they didn't do much to get into the Union, the Confederate States now have very little, the Northerners don't have much power over them. And that sucks. And meanwhile, in the South, the things they were trying to do was they were trying to use the military to reform stuff. And there's also these white guys coming in from the North called carpetbaggers who were trying to help the black people. And also sympathetic Southerner white people who were trying to help called scalawags. That's what I remember. They weren't very well liked. In fact, the carpetbaggers had a very negative image. And they were known as carpetbaggers because they had bags. Not sure about the carpet part. There are also black people who helped. I know that was a thing. I don't know if they were called any derogatory terms. Probably just the standard derogatory terms. Anyway, there's a Freedmen's Bureau who also did stuff. I remember that. But then what happened was the Republicans were like, crap, we don't have that much power anymore. Hey, there's a new presidential election. Hey, there's this Rutherford B. Hayes guy. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, somebody I forgot to mention was that, they also did something else. The Andrew Johnson guy, he's like, okay, I wanna, you Republican people, you're passing this bill. No, I'm a veto it. But then the Republican Party's like, nah, we're gonna override that veto. But then the Republican Party's starting to lose power. No! And so, the Republican Party is like, hey, let's pass this bill, 10-year of office. If someone gets into the U.S. government because of the Senate, then the Senate has to say, yeah, it's okay to fire them if you ever want to fire them. So, they pass this, and then Johnson's like, I'm gonna fire this guy. And the Senate's like, oh no you don't. And then he's like, yes I will. And then now he did that, and so now he's getting impeached. And now he has a bad rep. So now we can have a different president. Finally. I hate that guy. He screwed everything over. Now, there's this guy, Rutherford B. Hayes. Rutherford B. Hayes. He basically lost the election. Except now there's these 20 electoral votes that are in dispute. And so, because of this, he might become president. Or maybe not. The popular votes are saying something else. But, because they're in dispute, if he gets all 20, but only if he gets all 20, he will become president, because he will have the majority just barely. So, because of this, the Republicans go to the Democrats and say, hey, they go to the Southern people and they go to say, hey, if we let this guy become president, and it will only be for one term, then we will remove all the troops from your place, the South, and then will that be good? And they're like, okay. So now all the troops are removed from the South, and now, because there's no troops, well, remember what I said? Yeah, now black people are being oppressed, and basically, Reconstruction is worthless, because Johnson is a dingus, and the Republicans want to have their power. Yay, I love how fun and fair politics is. Oh boy. So that's what I remember learning about Reconstruction. Probably not the best, most memorable way to remember it, but yeah, that's